You know, our website used to SUCK.
It's doo-doo water, dude.
But now it don't.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, if you look at our website, I would say it sets the standard for pressure washing companies. It is the sexiest pressure washing website. I mean, check it out yourself.
Yeah.
And today we're going to have the creator of our website,
Michael Grigery is
Michael Grigery, Click Call Sell. He has actually been a part of franchising and have scaled franchises into like 2,000 different cities.
Wow.
Yeah, he currently has over 200 home service businesses as his clients, manages millions of dollars of Google Ads money. And today he's going to be on the show.
It's exciting. That is bukus of bucks, bro.
Yep, and we're going to allow you to ask any questions that you might have to Michael live today. So make sure you like, subscribe, share, grab your popcorn because it's coming up.
It is cold outside.
You could say it's freezing.
It is freezing outside, sometimes even dropping literally below freezing temperatures.
So freezing.
At least here in Nashville. But what's good is we've got a guest on the show, and he's going to basically tell you that you do not have to hibernate through the winter, but you can stay busy. And so we've got an awesome guest today, but at the end of the show, I'm going to ask the one question that everybody's going to be wanting to know. And that is, how do you keep your phones ringing through the wintertime? Because it just stops.
That's so good.
Lord, wouldn't we all want to know? Hey, welcome back to the community. This is the podcast devoted to home service businesses and those who desire to make an impact while making an income. Every week, you're going to hear stories from business owners and those who decided to do it their way and start their own business. With that being said, we see Determined Pressures, I believe, is who sent this message in. You are sent to me by God as an angel to answer my prayers. Hey, just really quickly, we do like to start every show in prayer, but I would like to ask if there are any specific prayer requests from you who has just commented that, or anybody else watching right now. Please drop them in there, and we can take those.
Yeah, we saw that enter into the show prior to us going live. And for just so you know, for us, it's exactly the reason we're doing that. And so thank you for being here. If you wouldn't mind, if you're in on the show or you're watching this, make sure you like, you subscribe, and you share. Next week, we're going to be showing a video on washing widows' homes in Nashville for free. It's one way that we make an impact while making an income. You don't want to miss next week's story. It's going to drop. But today, I've got a personal friend that absolutely changed the scope and trajectory of Brown's Pressure Washing. As we grew, our website needed to be leveled up, and our marketing needed to be leveled up. Our Google ads needed to be leveled up. And the who that we have today is an absolute genius when it comes to all things pressure washing related. He's a Conquer coach. He's got a massive bio. And so make sure that you ask any question that you have today before we jump off. If you're just now joining us, make sure you like, you subscribe, you share. We'd love to bring as many people on the show as we possibly can, as we all address the one thing that's facing all of us. Well, not all of us. Some of us are in San Diego and other areas.
Texas, Florida, all you
Just
Texans
chilling.
out there.
And so I'm about to introduce Michael Grigery to everyone. But before we let him in, let's open up today.
We've got a prayer request then that you can touch
Okay.
on. Guidance with protection for my idea, and grace to be faithful and not give into weakness of giving up. I'm not sure if you're speaking into as it relates to stepping into a business or whatever it is, but we will definitely cover that.
Yeah, and that's one reason you need to surround yourself with accountability and with community. I would encourage you. We're going to pray for you, and we believe that the Holy Spirit is right there where you are. And so want to encourage you, don't give up. And not only inside your own psyche or your own mental fortitude, but also surround yourself with people that are going to encourage you and be for you.
Yeah.
And so this Thanksgiving, we're going to pray and encourage you, but don't stop. We plan on offering this podcast, this YouTube show for folks that are like us. We're looking to God to make an impact while making an income. So let's go ahead and pray. Do you have a name that you can throw down in the chat, at least a first name? So
Yeah, your actual name. He hasn't thrown it in there yet. He or she has not, but go ahead and throw that in there when you get the chance.
All right, well, let's pray. Father, we thank you for another day on this planet. We thank you for all the guests that are going to be able to see this today and also in the future. Father, I pray for every man, woman, and child that our lives get to impact throughout the time that we're here on planet Earth. And so may we use this moment as an offering to you, not only how to grow a business and provide for our family and our team's families, but also to make an impact while we're here on planet Earth, where it's not just about us, but it's about you and what you desire to do through us. And Father, we pray specifically for our brother that's asking for some community, some wisdom, some hope, that you would just give it to him from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet. Cover him with your blood and your power and your authority. It's in Christ's name I pray. Everyone said,
Amen.
Amen.
amen. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and let Michael Grigery into the room. Michael, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up, Michael?
What is going on, Michael?
Excited to be here. I was worried for a second. I saw Joshua like super up close, but it zoomed out. Much better view now.
I'd be
thank
worried
you.
about that too.
I would be concerned as well. But Michael, for those of you that don't know you or have never heard of Click Call Sale or seen you before, would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself, brag a little bit about what you're great at, your superpower, maybe your experiences over the last 10, 15, 20, 30 years?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. So you called me a genius. I always get really uncomfortable when that word gets thrown around because I'm just on a journey just like the rest of us are, just trying to figure life out one day at a time. But I started in music. If anybody's seen the movie Happy Gilmore, one of my favorite things to say is I was literally the trombone player version of Happy Gilmore. And it took my best friend.
You were going to say you were in that movie, man. You really had me going for a second.
That would be epic, but no, I was not. I should ask for royalties because I use it so much. I was like, Adam Sandler's there just getting hit with the hockey puck and just thinking he's a hockey player. And so my best friend after graduate school was like, look, you're not good at music. We need to start a business together. And so we packed up my Honda Civic and drove to San Diego to start a real estate investment company in 2007. And if you remember, there was a real estate crash in 2007, 2008. So that didn't work out as intended, but I got into lead generation. I started learning old Web 2.0, HTML, CSS, like squeeze pages, and started just doing lead gen for real estate. Saw some success, had a desire to become an entrepreneur. So I got involved with exterior cleaning franchise called Window Genie in 2011. And quickly started doing lead gen for the franchisees and found just a real passion for home services, mostly because it's like my people, blue collar, just people that are just trying to, make a name for themselves and change their own family tree through, creating their own destiny. And got a huge passion for the people and just the home service industry in general. So I got to be a part of a franchise that went from 20 to over 100 locations over a 4 or 5 year span. And just blessed to be kind of in a room and surrounded with really high functioning, successful small business people. And 2018, my wife finished law school and said she wanted to move back to San Diego where her family is. So I started Click Call Sell, my marketing agency, and Conquer Coaching. I was the first Conquer coach. So I've been business coaching in the home services space as a marketing director, as a brand manager, as a consultant, as a coach, as a CEO. I've bought businesses, scaled them, failed them. I've got a lot of experiences over the last 13 years. So I'm happy to share anything and everything with you and your audience.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was you went real quickly over a whole lot. I remember seeing Window Genie when I was in North Carolina and watching these franchises pop up, and it was my first time ever, processing, a branding on the side of a vehicle. And so I'm very familiar with Window Genie. How many businesses would you say that you've personally have had your hands on over the course of, from 2008 on? Would you say how many businesses have you had your hands somewhat on, helping startup, managing Google ads, giving advice and coaching and so forth?
Hundreds, more than 500, less than 1,000.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. And so with all that experience, that means there's a ton of wisdom and knowledge that we get to tap into today. And so, Michael, as you come in on one of our first episodes really of launching, we hope to nurture a long relationship where we can have you on every 3 or 4 months, maybe sharing a little bit about the industries and answering questions that the community may have over time. And so if you've got a question for Michael, whether it's today or in the future and watching this, feel free to write it down inside the chat. We will continue to update those lists, and we'll make sure we ask Michael those questions when we have him on the show in the future. But Brady, did you have another question that you wanted to ask?
Yeah, I do. I always like to get into the personal side. So outside of professional, what is it that you've got like hobbies or interests that interest you the most? What do you do outside of work? What's fun?
So I was a little older in life when I started a family. So my son Thomas was born when I was 39 years old. So I got to experience a lot of like life when I was a little bit younger. So now I try to be as good of a dad as I possibly can. I work 7:30 to 4:30, and then it's family time from 4:30 until 8:30. Weekends is with family, pretty much exclusively family time. Traveling, we really enjoy traveling. I'm in a few mastermind groups. I've joined EO recently, and I'm in a few subgroups with EO. And so just hanging out with friends, other entrepreneurs, especially like there's a really cool group called Faith in Entrepreneurship that's part of EO. It's actually, if you want to get into it, Jonathan or Joshua, it's really, really cool business, a really, really cool thing. But just hanging out with entrepreneurs, studying, learning, and really focusing on family as much as I possibly can. Because like I said, a little later in life when I got to have my own family.
I love that, man. How many kids have you actually got?
Just one.
Just the one? How old is he?
He's 4. His name's Thomas. His birthday's in October. So we just had his birthday last month.
Oh, that's cool. So much fun.
Yeah,
Man.
I've got a 2-year-old at the house, and over the last 24 hours, he's been puking all over my wife.
That's also fun.
And you're still here. That's amazing.
And by the grace of God, this is actually, so little ones are a lot of fun. And when you have them later in life, there's a lot of energy that's required that you may or may not have. You shared a little bit when we asked, like, hey, what are your hobbies or interests? And so it's really your faith in your business. And so
family.
what I hear is like, man, for him, work is fun.
Yeah.
And specifically helping people scale their business. What does EO stand for? We'll put it in the show notes. That way, if anybody wants to find out about faith, entrepreneurship, or anything like that, would you mind sharing that?
Yeah, it's called Entrepreneur Organization. It's certainly not a faith-based or club. They just have little subcommittees that are set up for it. And just knowing your audience. I mean, you have to have a 7-figure business to even qualify for EO. But once you're in, you can find people who believe what you believe and like to do the same things that you do that also own a successful business. Because I think anybody that has a business from $1 to $1 billion knows that it's pretty difficult. So it's a fantastic organization. I joined earlier this year, and it's been hands down the best decision I made this year.
Wow. It sounds like you're around a lot of intelligent and sharp people. And it also sounds like you've maybe have made that a priority in the past. And so one question that I had as we rolled into this was, who is someone that really has inspired you or has influenced your approach inside of marketing, or like has really made marketing fun for you?
So many people. I have been called by several people in my life Sponge Boy, which is strange, a weird name, but multiple people have actually called me Sponge Boy.
It could mean a lot of different things.
Yeah, you're right. I'm actually
That's
preparing
awesome.
this presentation in January, and I went to some AI program and made a superhero called Sponge Boy that I use. I just did that today.
Let's go.
It's quite funny. I've had so many. I would feel terrible if I left people out. So the founder and CEO of Window Genie, he's since retired, but his name's Rick Nanell. Became very close friend. He gave me opportunities that I never ever would have had. The chief operating officer of Neighborly personally mentored me. Her name's Mary Thompson Kennedy. Just a phenomenal person, entrepreneur. She would be on the top of that list. When I used to work in the restaurant industry, as I was like, saving money to fly around and take auditions, and there was a proprietor at an Outback that was very instrumental in my entrepreneurial journey. I really enjoy the operations of marketing more than the marketing of marketing. I like building the systems that create leads and letting the team come up with the creative things like the little widgets that work.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm basically making hand motions saying we need you.
Yeah, man. It's an interesting thing when I hear you talking about it. My mind automatically starts going to kind of what you just mentioned, which is like when you're talking to somebody else about their business, and I know we're going to get to leads and stuff in a little while, but like I'm going, how do you even scale a marketing company like this? Like my mind automatically goes to what you've done. It's like way too cool. It's so awesome. Like, what is some of the mindset behind how you've figured out how to scale? I know that is a broad question.
No, it's actually a pretty simple answer. I was a consultant with Neighborly, world's largest franchise organization. And I had built what is now Click Call Sell's full-on blueprint. Like everything that we do now, I presented to them, because they were spending a lot of money on agencies and outside. And I was like, hey, you could do this. And they said no. So I was like, fine, I'll do it myself. So I had the vision and I had the organizational chart put together before the business even started.
Wow.
And it's really about a team of people who really just get in the weeds with the different media platforms like Google Ads or whatever, Facebook ads, that are just really, really good experts at that thing. And it allows me to kind of build the systems to make their job easier. I call myself a facilitator. I try to facilitate success for my team and give them the tools and resources to do as good a job as they can do and maximize their potential.
Michael, there's a couple of like laws that come to my head, and one of them is your alignments determine your assignments. And for those that are watching, a lot of times you feel like you're all alone, you're on an island, and you don't have to be. And when you think about like the church as being a body, and it's not just one person that does all the functions, inside of growing and scaling a business, if you're the only one doing all the work, the majority of it is not going to be done properly. And so as we have folks that are watching right now, I want to encourage them to think about aligning themselves with who's not how's. There's a great book by Dan Sullivan called Who Not How, and it basically helps business owners, and I'd say anybody that's trying to scale anything, is that you need to know how to do everything. You just need to find who's that know the how to help you scale, and you can't do it alone. And so one of the reasons we have Michael on here, and he's going to be sharing about some webinars and some events coming up that you can be a part of, is that you have to be a vacuum and take in as much information as you can and join a network of other individuals. Don't say, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time. A lot of what we give away and a lot of what we share is for free. And a book is like 12 to 15 bucks on Audible. So if you're trying to hold on and saying, hey, I'm trying to stick with it, grow my business, I don't want to give up, you prove that by your actions of surrounding yourself with the right people and removing the wrong people. And what you learn from Michael's story is he would not be here if he didn't have multiple mentors to get him where he is today. So it didn't happen by accident. His alignments determined his assignments and where he's at today. So thank you, Michael, for sharing that on the background.
Very well said.
Man, for those of for our viewers, for those who have like just started their pressure washing business, can you share just some insight on why marketing is important, even for a pressure washing business in today's digital age, and even for the ones who are like, man, I don't have the time to think about marketing. I don't even have the money. I don't know how to come up with it. Like, can you share with that person why it's important?
Yeah. I did not coin this phrase. You may have heard it before, but every business is just a marketing company that happens to fill in the blank, right? We're a marketing company that happens to wash houses. We're a marketing company that happens to sell t-shirts. So, I mean, everything you do is marketing. Marketing is what inspires somebody to make the effort to pick up the phone and call you or to fill out that form on the site. Without marketing, people aren't going to know who you are, or they're not going to have the urge to call you because you haven't done anything that makes them want to reach out to you. So, it's everything. Now, when you first start out, it's different tactics than you'll probably be spending your efforts and time and money on 2, 3, 4 years down the road. But you have to think marketing from the conception of your logo, the colors, and everything. So even if you haven't started yet, it starts with the thought of building a business.
So how would you give actually some advice for the person that you've explained why it's important? Can you share a little bit of like, hey, here's something you could do to sit down and come up with some color scheme ideas or some ad ideas? How can they literally get started?
Okay. So I would, if pressure washing any business in general is surround yourself with people that are already doing the thing that you want to do. And so because this is a pressure washing group, but that's where you want to start. So go to Facebook, join groups, find somebody that is a low cost mentor or somebody that's just a couple levels above you and just get their experience. Talk to 4 or 5 people and get just different people's experience. There are lots of people. I can think of Ryan Kettering with Prolific Brands. He'd be happy to sit down and talk to you about the philosophy of branding, and just immerse yourself in the world of home services, pressure washing, branding in general, just to get that idea. If you've already started your business, it's certainly not too late to make a slight change or tweak or optimize a part of your brand or part of your messaging now, because it's a lot easier to do it when you're small than it is when you're bigger.
Wow. Yeah, that's really awesome that you kind of have that vision for that branding. But one of the questions that I had is, it's a competitive market here in Nashville. And so what are like some key things that you can say when you're looking at finding these, looking at these other companies? Is it important to go with a different route or to look different, or do you want to look the same as other businesses? What does that look like as it relates to a real competitive market?
Yeah, no. So Nashville is definitely a very competitive market. You guys still there? Because I just lost your video.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Nashville is definitely a very competitive market. I think it starts with your story, thinking about this story brand and how can you separate and differentiate yourself from your competition. I like to use a really good example from a book called Everyone's a Critic. I read it years and years ago. But it was this term that we call, it's called lagniappe. It's a French term for just giving a little bit extra. And what can you do in your business to create an experience that's just going to give that little bit extra to your customer? Telling that story that makes somebody want to establish you as a trustworthy, an expert in credibility with your narrative, your story, your photos, your colors, the offer. And you can do that without spending a lot of money. Your phone will take a good enough picture nowadays to have, a smiling handshake with your logo on, right? So we want to start to just create a story and a compelling narrative that is going to make someone want to purchase our services, because people buy from those they know, like, and trust. So how can you become somebody that is trustworthy?
Yeah, we use different verbiage, but we call that the business separator. Yeah, it sounds like he's describing what our business separator is. That's so good.
Michael, are you familiar with Craig Gershell?
Heard the name.
Yeah, he's a leadership pastor who plants churches throughout the U.S. and he wrote a book about changing the way that you think and so forth. And there's a quote inside the book that says, "A lie believed functions as truth, even if it's a lie." And what I believe happens in a lot of startups and those that are inside the community and trying to figure out how to scale is that they believe little lies. And I'm sharing that, I'm probably guilty of some of these, that the lies that we believe function as truth, even when they're a lie. And so guys that are starting a company, the worst enemy they have is actually the enemy inside their head that's telling them about they can't do it, or they don't have enough money, enough time, enough knowledge. And it's like, just surround yourself with the right people and do the right thing the right way consistently over time, and you can build something worth leaning your hat on. But I do think that's the reason that so many Michael, you can help me on this. Do you know the percentage of businesses that go out of business inside the pressure washing industry that's not connected to either a network or to a brand or a franchise?
I do not, but I do know that 74% of stats are made up. So I could give you a number if you wanted to.
Hey, let's hear let's hear your hypothesis, because we've done a little bit of study on this in our search for made up stats. And so, what would be your made up stat? And I'll tell you what we've came up with.
Okay, so you're saying a standalone person starts a pressure washing business with no network, no training, not a franchise, just let's go. Are you saying it's still in business 1 year later or 5 years later? Or what's the time?
5 years.
In 5 years, 80% failure rate, 20% success.
Yeah,
you're very close to what Google says.
Yeah, and
very close to the fake statistic.
What the experts say. And
they say.
Do you know the stat on those who connect themselves with a brand, what their success rate is?
60%.
Yeah, it's a little bit more. It's high 70s.
Wow.
If they're connected. Yeah, because if they have that network of coaching and branding, the success rate is uber high. And so we filmed some videos not too long ago, so we had to do a extensive research on ChatGPT. And we're pretty confident that Chat knows what he's talking.
On there it says some information may be inaccurate.
Yeah, but if you got
but not if you have AI.
Yeah. And that's so, awesome. Long story short, there is a discrepancy between those that are alone and then those that do it together.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's what we're trying to encourage is, we're highlighting Michael, we're highlighting a network so you don't end up giving up. Surround yourself with people rowing the same direction that can end up encouraging and sharing with you your failures.
Blue Shields, thanks for jumping in. Chris, you as well. Thank you guys so much for jumping in. I want to take a minute to take a pause here and let you guys know who we've got on. If you're just jumping in, this is Michael Grigery, Total Slayer in marketing with Click Call Sell. He is dropping some bombs of knowledge on us tonight on how to keep our phones ringing through winter, how to get them ringing even more during the harvest season. And so that runs me right into another question that I've got. We have an excellent blog writer, the best of the best, Sydney Brown, Joshua's daughter. That has always done, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's done pretty well for us. Would you give some tips to some of the guys out there for maybe the necessity of either writing blogs, making videos and different posts like that to showcase their company on those platforms? Yeah.
So really good question. To do it correctly, it takes a little bit of knowledge. I would say write this down. Anybody listening, write down the word Google Search Console.
Hey, if Michael's telling you to do this, don't not do it. Do it.
It's just the easiest way to do it. That's not guessing. So what Google Search Console does.
Sorry, Google Search what?
Google Search Console. You guys have it. I'll give you the link to it.
It's like you don't need to write it down.
Yeah. So what this does, it'll show you every single impression that your website is shown up for, and it'll show like areas of opportunity for you to see like what content you should or could be writing about.
Yeah, that's good.
And for example, I have our bookkeeper, who's a client of ours, was talking about blogs just this week. So it's fresh in my brain. So I'll mention it. And it's Yeti Books. And they said, we need to get more content. We need more content written. So went to Search Console, and lo and behold, we see bookkeeping for landscapers, bookkeeping for handymen, bookkeeping for plumbing. And it's like just right there. All these, they don't have content written for them, but they're showing on the 73rd page of Google for bookkeeping for. And this is just an amazing opportunity that you'll be able to see. So you may not on the first 3 or 4 list there see exactly what you want to do, but go down and download 100, and you'll start to get some really good ideas of things that people are searching for already, past data that you can start to write information to. That's one.
That's massive knowledge right there. I've never thought about that.
We're taking notes.
Yeah, man. That's
like
so
Josh
good.
was doing it right now. He's like, what can we write about?
I can confirm that is happening. He's not texting or emailing.
Well,
He's taking this knowledge.
Michael, I'm also writing notes of reminders. So every person's name that you write down, I want to be able to put their link and information inside of our little notes that we've done. And
name drop more. This sounds good.
Yeah. So for us, we've learned that relationships are the currency of life. And so when you mention, Yeti bookkeepers, or you mention a gentleman by the name of Ryan and branding, it's like, I'm hungry to learn and to grow and to do the right thing, because it's the only thing that's going to get us where we want to be at. And so, and for those that are on the show today, your chances are you're hear from a lot of different individuals that, hey, this is the expert, this is the person. A lot of people are selling basically YouTube videos or social, trying to get clout. But in reality, Michael really is the guy that has helped a ton of people. I know nobody that would be any more equipped to answer questions and help anyone that's trying to build a website, get ranked on Google, and grow through Google Ads and different things like that. Tons.
And guys, this is the community. This show is for all of us. So normally you'd probably have to pay this guy quite a bit of money, and you've got an opportunity, a small window here to ask any question inside of here that you have for him. And he's going to do his best to answer it. So take advantage of that. No question is dumb. Just ask away any questions you have as it relates to getting your phones ringing and people visiting your website.
I think I know the question.
What do you got?
That they're going to ask. Can I ask it? Is this time where I can ask the big question?
Don't ask it yet. Hold on.
I'm dying to know the answer.
Well, I really wanted to ask him immediately.
So we do have a question we're going to drop here in a few seconds. But before we do that, there's something I didn't know there's things you don't know until you do know that you wish you would have known. And one of those things is creating a marketing calendar.
Oh, that's good.
And so, Michael, you teach and train others how to create a marketing calendar. Can you give a little context, a little bit of like 5-minute teacher zone on what a marketing calendar would be and how someone could create one?
Absolutely. Yeah. So since we're name dropping, Michael Grigery has a YouTube channel called Click Close Out. And there's a 3-part video series about what I'm going to say right now.
Grigery? No, I'm just
All right. So there's leading and trailing metrics, or leading and lagging metrics. A leading metric is your plan, and the lagging metric is the data you're collecting after it's already happened. And the marketing calendar is really just letting you be proactive in your marketing. After coaching so many people for so many years, one of the most common challenges is you go through this spring rush season where demand is greatly outpacing the supply of vendors or people that can do the work. Everybody's fat and happy in the spring. Then all of a sudden, the July 4th hits and the phone just stops ringing. And so now you're not booked out. You're starving. Your techs need work. And you say, what do I do? And if you had a leading metric, if you had a marketing calendar and you were able to anticipate when demand was going to pick up and when it's going to subside, you would be able to have specific strategic marketing initiatives put in place at the right time so that your phone did not have the massive swings that a lot of people see in seasonal businesses. It's not unique to exterior cleaning. Think pest control and landscaping. They all kind of go through the same thing. So how can we be proactive? So I created an acronym called ACE, Anticipate, Capitalize, Extend. Anticipate is really just knowing when that rush hits for the spring, and then anticipating, getting your existing customers on early, getting the postcards and the mass mailers out early to get that rush so you can go to 0 to capacity as fast as possible. And then capitalize on the season. So you're working at 100% capacity and not being booked out 6, 8, 10 weeks because you overspent or, weren't prepared for the season. And then extend. How far into that slow season can we get work? Can we get more commercial work scheduled in July and August? Can we market really heavy in June so that we get really far booked out by the last week in June and we just chip away at that for the summer? So anticipate, capitalize, and extend. And then think about your point of diminishing returns with your different medias. So if you're having a ton of success with yard signs, can I put more yard signs out, or clip fires, or Google ads? Can I do more before I find that point of diminishing returns?
Guys, I really hope you're listening to this. This is some yummy stuff, man. I mean, this guy is like it.
Are you saying Michael's got that yummy?
He's got the yummy.
Oh my God.
He's dope.
Hey, can we put a pink?
So good.
Hey, put Michael in pink right now. Can
Just
Caleb,
so
throw that
good,
over top
man.
of the room?
If you're not writing this down, you're a goober.
So I think I'm going to ask the question because this leads into, I mean, you basically just kind of started teasing us a little bit with it. And so it was a softball pitch, but the number one question that I feel like most pressure washing companies in our area is going to drop in the comments for this is, how in the world do we get work in the wintertime? And that could be through phone calls. You also lead it into a little bit of like maybe trying to schedule as much work out into the wintertime. Like, what is the number 1, 2, 3 things that we need to do to get work?
Change the weather.
Sorry, that would be move to Florida for the winter.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Move to Florida, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. So first of all, thank you for asking this. So Joshua and I talked before about the Wealthy Winter webinar series that's happening next month. So Joshua, if you have that landing page created, you can get people to sign up for that for free, where it's 15, I think maybe 20 of my friends who are all experts on 7, 8-figure companies sharing what they do during the winter to make winter the wealthiest season for them. So it's a wide range of topics. This is the second year in a row that we've done this Wealthy Winter webinar series. And I think the biggest takeaway, listening to everything from last year, speaking at last year and this year's event, is there's really like 3 camps. The first camp is going to be the service camp. I want to figure what services can I do that is going to allow me to get more revenue in the wintertime. So think Christmas lights, dryer vent cleaning, snow removal. How can I work in the winter to keep my team busy? So that's the first camp, is the work camp. The second camp is the systems camp, right? Is how can I just optimize or plan for the next year? So maybe I get my hiring funnels optimized and I just get really good job ads and I get how I'm going to be communicating with my team. Maybe I reorganize my warehouse and redo my vehicles and just organize everything to make it better for the next year. And the third camp is just like chill. You run a seasonal business. You work really hard for 10 months a year. It's okay to just recharge your batteries in January and February and something that's more for you, because the business is still running good margins, right? And so if you're running it, let's say a 20% net profit margin, you're still got 10 months of sales. That 20%. You're probably okay to take those 2 months and be responsible and not have to worry about making a bunch of money. Because if you are up north, even in Nashville, like you literally can't pressure wash some days. You can't. It's too cold. Yeah. So you're going to have to find something else or work on systems or build or just take some time off.
I feel like what I hear you saying a lot of is like optimization of the whole business to help the flow of it, like schedule management. Like you're managing when you're putting things, where you're putting them. You're not actually dumping a bunch of money in through the winter or the midsummer lull, even, and the phones just ring. I mean, wouldn't that be awesome? It's just not a thing that's happening. Sure. You're talking about, hey, let's manage the business, professionalize the business. Time management on the schedule really gives you a very constant flow. I'm getting some good questions on here. Determined pressures. I wish that I knew how to pronounce your name. I don't, so I'm not even going to try. But he asked a question on here. I'm going to try to make sense of it here. How do you market to your value proposition if you want to change the metric while you are changing your actual value proposition for your business model? I might need to read that one more time if I do.
What's the metric? What are you trying to change? What metric are you trying to change? Like your price?
Yeah, that'd be a good question for him to follow up with an answer on. Go ahead and answer that for us. We'll jump on to the second one while we wait. It sounds to me like he's wanting to change the metric of the value proposition potentially, but we'll wait to see. This comes from Chris Harshbarger. What is the top 3 things I should have on my website for the best SEO?
The best SEO is a strong brand. So have a brand that people know. I mentioned Google Search Console earlier. Another number one metric we like to look at is brand queries. If you look at the click-through rates, the percentage of time people click on you searching for your brand, Brown's Pressure Washing, versus pressure washing near me, it's astronomically higher. So brand awareness is the number one thing you can do for your SEO in general. The second thing, I wouldn't even say so much it's on your website, it's the amount of content that you're posting to the world. And then all of the content you're posting to the world is linking back into your website. So very industry specific, geolocation specific content, posting pictures to your Google business profile, to your Facebook profile. If you have a TikTok, anything you can do to just get content out there, because that's going to come back to your site. And then for on page on your website, most important thing you can do is just structure it correctly, right? Have each page specifically about a service, and then have value proposition and tell a story about what you do and how you deliver pressure washing services to your customers, what they can expect from the moment they're looking and reading that content all the way through the job being done. Just tell your story and don't try to be super broad. Have a page specific for every single service and then tell your story. Good photos, people smiling, facing the camera. Look at 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Look at anything like the franchise organizations are doing. You'll see the same kinds of pictures every single time. Shaking customers' hand at the front door, smiling, arms around each other, like that kind of feeling you want to have on your website.
So not pictures of your truck or your pressure washing machines.
No, that's one of the most frustrating things that I see is people already know you're a pressure washing company. They don't need to see a picture of a pressure washer on a house. They've searched pressure washing company near me. That's done. We're good. Now we need to get to establish, like, how are you going to feel when they see your site?
Hey, Michael.
That's good.
You're such an expert. And the first thing that you mentioned was the perfect leadway for me to share a little bit of what we're doing inside the marketplace. So our pressurewashingpastor.com website is up. And basically we're looking for faith-driven entrepreneurs, those who want to make an impact while making an income. And when you talk about starting something from scratch or joining a brand, that is exactly one of the reasons that we do what we do. Is we're looking for individuals in different cities that want to launch a kingdom-minded business plan inside their cities. And so, Chris, if you're one of those individuals, make sure you check out pressurewashingpastor.com. Our hope is to launch the largest network of pressure washing kingdom-minded believers in the country. And so that's one of the whys we have behind what we do inside the business is, at the end of our lives, it's not just about what we made, but what we did along the way. And so thank you for sharing brand, because that's one of the reasons we want to grow out a powerful brand. And so it's a lot of work.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump into, I've actually got a couple more questions rolling in here, Michael, if you don't mind. Palm Tree says, can you explain why some Google reviews are not posting? I bet that there's a slew of answers to that question.
Yeah. So Google is just following what Yelp's been doing for a lot of years. You'll notice more than likely they just get deleted in bulk. You'll wake up one day and you'll have 20 less reviews than you had. There is actually a reinstatement process. You can probably Google, how do I get my Google reviews reinstated? And there's a form we can fill out and request them to get reinstated. But anytime they seem just generic or spammy, because remember, Google's the smartest AI that's ever been. So they know who's writing the review, where was the review written, how many searches do they have, what's their search history, did they likely use your service, what words did they use, and has that been used in other reviews before? And if it seems by their algorithm like it just isn't a real review, they're going to flag it. And
interesting.
What's interesting is you don't necessarily have to worry about reviews being removed if they're not real, because Google's doing the same applying the same rules to everybody. It's not like you're being singled out.
Right.
Everybody's doing the same rules. So if you get them removed, just keep doing it the right way and you'll eventually win.
That makes sense why the 20 reviews that I wrote for our company got removed. That makes sense why they're not there anymore. So.
Determined pressures. I would like to address that question that we had read earlier.
Are you
Just
serious right now?
No.
Okay.
Just
Because we missed some review. No, sorry, I just got loud in the mic. Sorry.
just so that I make sure I answer your question directly. It actually sounds a little bit more like a sales question, Michael, rather than a marketing specifically. So to answer your question, if you're trying to figure out how to sell your value proposition, I think what you're saying is, how do I find my target customer? And outside of everything he's already shared inside of this video, so you may come back to the recording of it and take some more notes. It's really just trying to find, I think he's maybe asking for what the right niche is, and then the value proposition, which the value proposition comes when you're either on site or over the phone actually selling the job. So I don't think that there's a way to niche down anymore really on a pressure washing call than to advertise for pressure washing. So I was just trying to directly answer that.
I think to summarize a lot of the advice that has been given today, I know some main action steps for us as we go into this next new year of 2024 is make the season, that the pressure washing season, maximize it 100%. Your best offense is a good defense, or your best defense is a great offense, and so maximizing that season. And like what Michael said, if your business is a plane, your product is your wings, and we need a lot of lift with our plane. And so if you are starting to not get a lot of calls through the wintertime, like what he said, do the dryer vent cleaning, do the snow removal, do the icing, do all those things and make those wings bigger so that you can fly farther out to get to the next start of the season.
Is that a soft yes to us starting dryer vent cleaning?
Dude, I've been begging for this, man.
Sorry,
Begging
Michael.
for it.
Sorry, Michael.
So
We're
bad.
hungry to extend.
Josiah keeps telling us no on that, and I'm like, dude, let's please just.
Are you
do
doing
it,
Christmas
man.
lights?
Yes,
We're doing the liggity lights.
Yeah, crushing the lights, and we love it. We've got some great who's that are doing the work here. Hey, Michael, we've only got a few more minutes. We've already hit 43 minutes thus far, and one of the questions I want to ask you is, why do you do what you do?
Yeah, part of my why is to wake up and swing for the fences, helping small business owners accomplish their why. I'd say I've cried more times as an adult watching people break through personal barriers, self-limiting belief, sales goals, team goals, family goals, than anything else. It's a remarkable feeling, kind of being on the sidelines and watching people grow from, knocking on 500 doors a day and leaving flyers to buying their 9th truck or whatever it could be. So it's pretty incredible. And that's why I do what I do, is just try to add as much value to as many people as I possibly can and leave this world a better place than I found it.
Yeah, thank you for that, Michael. I knew that you were a difference maker. We met a couple of 2 or 3 years ago, and I think I was in Florida at a event, and that's when we went from a Wix created website that me and a teenager made years ago into you developing one that ended up being the sexiest website I've ever seen, at least for me. I think it's beautiful, and so we appreciate how you've helped us scale throughout the years. And we feel like you've been a godsend to our business and with our relationship. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I feel the same. And it's also a little bit of a dopamine rush when I talk to somebody in the Nashville market and say they want us to build a site. And I'm like, I can't. I work with Browns. And they're like, oh,
so much to us. That means so much to me right now.
We just need to lock down all the cities with Michael Grigery, and it's over. Game over.
I love it, man. Hey, are there any books or podcasts or any other resources that you could drop in here that you could recommend to some of our audience? Like, I don't know, brand new entry.
Yeah, let me set this up, Michael.
Yeah.
I believe out of all the things you can do in the winter, if you had $1,000 and you had to invest it in something, I'd put it on your own self-leadership.
Yeah, for sure.
And so in my head, if Winter Wonderland, the crushing it game plan has to include mindset, eliminating beliefs, and taking yourself and your team higher inside their own leadership. So what books, podcast resources would you recommend for our community?
So I'll start with the podcast. I mean, everything Alex Hormozy says about business, I listen to with trust. I've been listening to him for a long time. He just got the book $100 million leads. He has $100 million offers book as well. And he just, the way he thinks about business is unbelievable. He started with gym launch, doing gyms. Then now he owns acquisitions.com. Great podcast, great author, great speaker. As far as books goes, if you're brand new into business, you have to start with the E-Myth, because the E-Myth kind of walks you through the journey that you're going to have as an entrepreneur, as the doer or the technician, to the manager, to the visionary or entrepreneur. And it will, as you're going through it, you'll be able to reflect on these phases as you kind of hire your first employee and you become a manager. And then you start to hire leadership teams and become that visionary. So E-Myth would be the book, if you haven't read it, to read it. I heard Michael Gerber say a couple of years ago that the book has sold more copies every single year than the year prior. So it's actually gaining traction, getting more popular.
Wow.
For me personally, I have our leadership team in our company read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and then How to Win Friends and Influence People. So both a little bit older books, but they just both had a really profound impact on me, my life. As far as mentioning, like, the best investment you can make is in yourself, Warren Buffett quote. And I really like John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. It's a fantastic book. It breaks down the 21 laws of leadership. First one being the law of the lid, saying you're never going to be able to teach somebody to be a better leader than you are. So it's your job and your responsibility as an entrepreneur to become a better leader through influence. And those would probably be my 4 books that I'd recommend. I'm not as much into podcasts because I'll do more like audiobooks or something while I'm riding a bike or something like that. But Alex Hormozy for a podcast.
Hey, Michael, would you mind go ahead and give everyone that's on today? I'll end up creating something on the show notes and we'll share something for the webinar that you're doing. But would you mind sharing that so those that are listening or watching can sign up for that webinar that you're doing on how to find winter work?
Yeah. Wealthywinter.com.
Awesome.
Wealthywinter.com. No spaces, no dashes, just wealthywinter.com. And there's a sign up right there. It is free, so you can watch it live. There is a small fee. I don't know exactly what it is, but if you want to purchase the recordings of everybody, so if you want to just come back and listen to them on your own time, I think it's like $100 or something like that, then you'll get access to all of the recordings.
Wow. So good.
Yeah. And when someone says $100, what does that make you think, Michael?
Oh, my favorite thing is, like, I waste $100 on something dumb in my business every day. So the worst case scenario is you don't listen to it and you don't use it. But the information and the knowledge that you're going to get from the people in here, like, they live what they're doing. They're going to be talking about acquisitions, way to kind of find deals to structure and how you structure an acquisition for the wintertime, ways to build hiring funnels, and ways to get job ads and operational infrastructure kind of in place. Ways to start a brand new business, and the conceptual, like, I'm an interview Sam Gemble, who runs a multi-7, 8-figure company that started doing snow removal. And he's going to tell the story about how he got into snow removal, exactly how he did it step by step. So these are the information you're going to get from all these people who are experts in their trade.
Wow.
Josiah is going to ask you one final question. And then we're going to ask, how people can get in touch with you if they want to find out more. And so we're at the very end of our show.
Yeah. So some of the best questions we don't know to ask. And so what's the one question that you wish we would have asked you to help the people watching?
The hardest question is the one where you make me answer a question that nobody asked. Is that the one the burning question from 15 minutes ago, Josiah?
No,
we went over that. It was like, God, please help us to get our phones to ring.
If there's no other questions,
I got it. I can do it. So, I mean, going back to the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, begin with the end in mind, I think, is the one thing I have seen gaps in a lot of my clients, coaching clients, Conquer clients, etc. And they're just focused on the now. And when you run a business, there's 1,000 decisions every single day. I don't even think I'm exaggerating. 1,000 decisions that you're making every single day. And it's really easy to get yourself stuck in this rut of reacting, and you're constantly just fixing and putting out fires. And you need to have your vision first, have your why, have the reason why you wake up and do what you do every single day has to be stronger than the challenges that you're going to face along the way. And so know why you're doing this and know where you're going and know what you want to build. And it'll make it a lot easier to make those decisions as they come to you on a daily, weekly, monthly basis.
So good.
Hey, Michael, with you saying that, I'm going to end up putting inside of our show notes, if you're still here and watching, I'm going to put in 10 questions that you need to ask in order to clarify what you really want in life. And so these questions are: what is working in this area of my life? What isn't working? How do I feel about this area in my life? And so I'm going to throw these into the show notes at the end of the show. So hopefully these questions you can use to get clarity as you head into, I guess, quarter one and wrap up quarter four on the year.
Yeah.
But Michael, we are honored that you'd, say yes to be on our show. So we're thankful that you're here today. We love you. We appreciate what you're doing. And that's all we have for today on the show. And until next time,
Peace.
Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you so much.
See ya.